Have you ever had that uncanny feeling that you're witnessing life through a completely different lens than everyone around you? That sensation when you're in a crowded room, yet somehow feel like you're watching everything unfold from behind an invisible veil. If you're nodding your head right now, chances are you might be part of the enigmatic 1% of the population, the rare and often misunderstood INFJ personality type. Today I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to share some deeply personal confessions that will resonate with every true INFJ to their core and might finally help others understand what it's really like to navigate the world with this rare personality type. Welcome back, beautiful souls. Before we embark on this intimate journey of INFJ confessions, take a moment to join our community by hitting that subscribe button and notification bell. Trust me, if you've ever felt like an outsider looking in, or if you're curious about the inner workings of the INFJ mind, this video is going to be like finding a piece of yourself you never knew was missing. The empaths burden reading rooms like books. Let's dive into our first confession, one that lies at the very heart of the INFJ experience. Imagine having a superpower that sometimes feels more like a curse, the ability to read a room's emotional energy as easily as others read billboard signs. As an INFJ, we don't just observe emotions, we experience them as if they were our own, creating a complex tapestry of feelings that can be both beautiful and overwhelming. Think about the last time you walked into a room where tension hung thick in the air. While others might have sensed something was off, you probably knew exactly what was wrong, who was upset with whom, and the underlying causes of the conflict, all without a single word being spoken. This isn't just basic empathy, it's like having an emotional GPS that's constantly recalibrating and processing the invisible currents of human interaction. This gift comes with immense responsibility and often a heavy personal cost. We find ourselves absorbing the joy, pain, anxiety, and excitement of everyone around us, like emotional sponges that can't control their absorption rate. It's why we might suddenly feel anxious in a perfectly calm situation, only to realize later that we were picking up on someone else's hidden distress. We might start the day feeling perfectly balanced, then find ourselves emotionally exhausted after spending an hour in a crowded coffee shop, having unconsciously processed dozens of emotional undercurrents. The real challenge isn't just in feeling these emotions, it's in learning to differentiate between our own feelings and those we've absorbed from others. Many INFJs develop what I like to call an emotional filtering system, but it takes years of practice and self-awareness to master. We learn to create protective barriers, not because we want to shut others out, but because we need to preserve our own emotional well-being. The door slam, our most misunderstood defense mechanism. Now let's talk about something that often earns INFJs a reputation for being cold or cruel, the infamous INFJ door slam. This isn't just about unfriending someone on social media or avoiding their calls. The INFJ door slam is an emotional and psychological mechanism so complete, it's as if we've erased someone from our internal world entirely. But here's what most people don't understand about this process: the door slam isn't the first line of defense, it's the last resort, the final act in a long play of exhausted patience and violated boundaries. Before we reach this point, we've typically gone through an extensive internal journey that includes: we start with endless compassion, making excuses for others' behavior and trying to understand their perspective. We offer second chances, third chances, 20th chances. We spend countless hours analyzing the relationship, looking for ways to make it work, often sacrificing our own well-being in the process. We try to communicate our needs, usually in gentle, subtle ways that unfortunately often go unnoticed or ignored. The most painful part? By the time we actually execute the door slam, we're usually emotionally drained to the point of numbness. It's not an act of revenge or spite, it's an act of survival. We've given so much of ourselves that there's nothing left to give, and continuing the relationship would mean losing ourselves entirely. The paradox of being a hermit who craves deep connection. Perhaps one of the most complex aspects of being an INFJ is our contradictory relationship with social interaction. We exist in a constant state of paradox, simultaneously craving deep, meaningful connections while feeling an intense need for solitude. This isn't your typical introversion, it's a unique dance between seeking profound human connection and protecting our sensitive inner world. Picture this: you spend days looking forward to meeting with a friend, carefully planning the conversation topics in your head, imagining the deep discussions you'll have about life, philosophy, and personal growth. Then, just hours before the meeting, you feel an overwhelming urge to cancel. not because you don't care, but because the thought of engaging with another human being, even one you deeply value, suddenly feels like too much to handle. This paradox extends beyond simple social interactions. We find ourselves being the counselor friend, the one everyone turns to for deep conversations and emotional support. We genuinely love these profound connections and feel honored when others trust us with their innermost thoughts. Yet, after these intense interactions, we often need days to recover, to process not only their emotions but our own responses to them. The truth is, our capacity for deep connection is both our greatest strength and our greatest challenge. We can't do surface-level relationships; they feel painfully inauthentic to us. Small talk isn't just uncomfortable, it's emotionally draining. We'd rather have one meaningful conversation that lasts until dawn than attend 100 parties filled with casual chatter. The secret life of an INFJ's mind. Let me take you on a journey through the labyrinth that is an INFJ's mind. Imagine running multiple high-definition movies simultaneously, each one playing out different scenarios, analyzing various possibilities, and processing countless emotional undercurrents, all while trying to maintain a normal conversation. That's just a typical day in our world. When we're engaging with someone, our minds are operating on multiple levels. The surface level involves active listening and responding appropriately. But beneath that, there's an intricate web of processing happening. We're not just hearing words, we're reading between the lines, analyzing tone variations, interpreting body language, and connecting dots from past conversations. We're picking up on subtle shifts in energy, noting slight changes in facial expressions, and correlating all this information with patterns we've observed over time. But it doesn't stop there. While all this analysis is happening, we're also projecting multiple future scenarios based on different possible responses, gauging the emotional impact of each potential word choice, processing the broader implications of the conversation, connecting seemingly unrelated pieces of information to form larger patterns, trying to ensure our responses align with our authentic selves while still maintaining harmony. This constant mental activity is why we often need significant alone time to process and reset. It's not just about being introverted, it's about needing time to sort through the massive amount of information we've collected and make sense of it all. The perfectionist's confession, a double-edged sword. Our perfectionism goes far beyond wanting things to be just right. It's an all-encompassing drive that influences every aspect of our lives, from the way we organize our thoughts to how we approach our relationships and personal growth. This isn't about being neat or orderly, it's about an unrelenting pursuit of our idealized vision. What makes our perfectionism unique is its holistic nature. We're not just perfectionists about external things like work projects or home organization. We're perfectionists about our internal world as well. We constantly analyze and refine our thoughts, feelings, and personal growth journey. We have an idealized version of ourselves that we're always striving toward, even though we know logically that perfection is impossible. The real confession? Despite appearing composed and put together on the outside, we often have dozens of unfinished projects, unrealized ideas, and unexpressed thoughts. Why? Because the gap between our vision and reality can feel insurmountable. We can see the finished product so clearly in our minds, the perfect novel, the ideal business plan, the flawless artwork, but bringing that vision into reality means accepting imperfection, and that's something we struggle with deeply. This perfectionism extends to our relationships too. We have an idealized vision of how relationships should be: deep, authentic, mutually growing, and we can become discouraged when reality falls short. We might spend hours analyzing a single conversation, thinking about how we could have expressed ourselves more clearly or connected more deeply. The intuitive's curse, knowing without knowing how. Our intuition isn't just a casual hunch or a gut feeling, it's like having a sophisticated prediction algorithm running in the background of our minds at all times. We often know things before they happen, sense underlying truths that others miss, and understand complex situations without having all the logical pieces in place. This ability can feel like both a blessing and a curse. Imagine knowing with absolute certainty that a friend's relationship is going to end months before it does, or sensing that a career move will lead to disaster before any obvious signs appear. The challenging part isn't just having this knowledge, it's figuring out what to do with it. We often find ourselves in the uncomfortable position of having to decide: do we share our insights and risk being dismissed as overly negative or dramatic? Or do we keep quiet and watch situations unfold exactly as we predicted, carrying the weight of that unshared knowledge? The chameleon complex, the art of adaptive authenticity. Let's delve into one of our most complex traits, our chameleon-like ability to adapt to any social situation. This isn't about being fake or manipulative, it's an innate ability that stems from our deep empathy and desire for harmony. We instinctively know how to adjust our energy, communication style, and even our personality presentation to make others feel comfortable and understood. Think about it. In a single day, we might find ourselves naturally matching the professional demeanor of a colleague, then smoothly shifting to mirror the enthusiastic energy of a child, before adapting to the contemplative mood of a close friend. Each version of ourselves is authentic in its own way, yet sometimes we lose track of which adaptation is closest to our true core. This ability comes with a profound challenge, maintaining our sense of self while being so adaptable. It's like being an actor who's so good at method acting that sometimes they forget they're playing a role. We might find ourselves adopting others' mannerisms, phrases, or even beliefs without realizing it, simply because we've tuned into their frequency so completely. The real struggle comes when we're alone and trying to reconnect with our authentic selves. We might ask ourselves which laugh is really mine, which opinions are truly my own, and which have I absorbed from others. It's a constant journey of self-discovery and recalibration. The weight of wisdom when understanding runs too deep. There's a particular kind of solitude that comes with seeing beneath the surface of everything. As INFJs, we don't just observe situations, we see through them, around them, and beyond them. Every interaction, every decision, every casual comment carries layers of meaning that we can't help but analyze and understand. This depth of perception can be exhausting. Imagine watching a movie where you're simultaneously aware of the plot, the character arcs, the symbolic meanings, the director's intentions, the actor's subtle choices, and the broader societal implications, all while everyone else is just enjoying the story. That's how we experience life on a daily basis. We see patterns everywhere, in relationships, in society, in human behavior. We notice how a friend's childhood trauma manifests in their career choices, how a company's culture reflects its leadership's insecurities, how societal trends echo historical patterns. This understanding brings both insight and responsibility. We often find ourselves carrying the weight of knowledge that we can't easily share with others. The hardest part? Sometimes we wish we could turn it off. We wish we could experience things simply, without automatically diving into their deeper meanings and implications. But that's not how our minds work. We're pattern seekers and meaning makers by nature, even when that means carrying the burden of understanding things that others don't see or prefer not to acknowledge. The creative's conundrum: worlds within worlds. Our creative life is perhaps one of our most guarded secrets. Inside every INFJ's mind exists entire universes complete with their own laws of physics, complex characters, intricate storylines, and profound metaphors. We're natural storytellers, but not always in the conventional sense. Our creativity isn't just about making art, it's about making meaning. We might spend hours constructing elaborate scenarios in our minds, working through different possibilities, creating detailed backstories for strangers we pass on the street, or developing complex solutions to theoretical problems. These internal creative processes are rich and fulfilling, but they often stay locked inside our minds. Why? Because translating these intricate internal worlds into external reality feels like trying to capture a sunset with a black and white camera. Something essential always gets lost in the translation. We fear that others won't understand the depth and complexity of our visions, or worse, that they'll dismiss them as impractical or overly idealistic. Our creative energy often manifests in unexpected ways. We might express it through how we solve problems, how we counsel friends, or how we organize our living spaces. Everything we do has an element of creativity to it, even if it's not traditionally artistic. The ultimate truth about being an INFJ: embracing our uniqueness. After all these confessions, here's the most important truth about being an INFJ: our complexity is our gift to the world. Yes, being the rarest personality type can feel isolating. Yes, our depth of feeling and thinking can be overwhelming. Yes, our constant search for meaning and authenticity can be exhausting. But these very qualities make us uniquely suited to understand and help heal the world in ways that others cannot. We are the bridges between different worlds, between emotion and logic, between intuition and reality, between what is and what could be. Our ability to see beneath the surface, to understand complex patterns, to empathize deeply, and to envision better possibilities isn't just a personality trait, it's a purpose. To my fellow INFJs watching this, your sensitivity is not a weakness. Your complexity is not a flaw. Your depth is not too much. The world needs your unique perspective, your compassionate heart, and your visionary mind. Keep nurturing your gifts, even when it feels like no one understands them. And to those who love an INFJ, thank you for your patience with our paradoxes. Thank you for giving us space when we need it, and for being there when we're ready to connect. Your understanding means more than you know. That's all for today, beautiful souls. If these confessions resonated with you, please share your experiences in the comments below. Remember to be gentle with yourself, protect your energy, and never apologize for the depth of your feeling or the complexity of your thoughts. Until next time, keep shining your unique light. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to join me on more journeys of self-discovery and understanding. Peace out.